Hey all, happy Monday! Thanks for joining me for a craft night with friends. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So it is Embroidery of the Month week, and we are stitching up this cute little Cardinal Evergreens embroidery. So sweet, the little cardinal sitting on the branches here. So here is the kit. We're going to be opening that up and making it from the kit tonight. So starting a new embroidery. I'm excited. All right, let's get going. Hello, hello everyone. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so let's open up this kit and then we'll get down lower here so we can, so you guys can see the stitches a little bit more. So let's pull out the cover here. All right, so the cover actually comes out, and on the back of the cover is all the instructions. So I'm going to have this nearby me as I stitch. We're using the back stitch, single chain stitch, French knot, and satin stitches for this design. And I don't know, kind of not sure where we should start. I kind of always like starting with the main character, so we might just do that. We might start with the little cardinal tonight. That's always fun, getting the main guy done first. All right, so that'll be nearby me here, and then I got all my colors, floss colors, a little ribbon to decorate it when we're done if we want to leave it in the hoop, and our little instruction guide. And all right, let's grab our needle from here. Get everything set. So the design's already printed on the fabric. All right, so there we are. All right, let's get it in the hoop. So just loosen that up. Oh, I like this fabric. It's all speckled. Like, this is that unbleached fabric, and I think that speckled look is going to be really cute for this. Yeah, I think we're going to have to stitch that little cardinal first. He's cute. That'll be fun. Hope everyone is doing well. Nice seeing you. It's always weird when I don't see you guys for a couple days. So it's Monday. In my head, it's Thursday though already. I like all day I was thinking, oh, it's Thursday, and then I'm like, wait, I gotta do my live, and it's only Monday. We're just starting this design, so I don't know what the deal is. I think I'm ready for Christmas holiday, I think. All right, so I'm just getting this in the hoop. I'm not really stretching it, but I am kind of just pulling at the fabric a little bit and then tightening as I go, and I'm just kind of running my hand if there feels like there's any like weird bubbles in it. I just try and kind of pull them out a little bit. That's not going to be the end of the world. I do want to make sure that the design doesn't seem like super distorted. Like, I could just really pull on the sides and it would kind of stretch out. So I'm just trying to like make it so it looks decent. And all right, let's get started. So I am going to zoom you guys down here for a sec. Oh, Shirley says, hey, I miss you over the weekend. That's sweet. All right. Oops, let's de-jumble ourselves here. All right, there we are. So this is how it'll look when it's done. This is the finished sample piece. So I think, why don't we start with the cardinal here, because I always like to start with the main area first, or like the cute subject or whatever it is. All right, I'm going to get my northern cardinal floss, so that's fitting for this. I also have my northern cardinal scissors today too to match. All right, so I like getting about 18 inches or so, like 18 to 24 inches is usually what I stitch with. Oh, Shimmer says, I love watching. I wish I had the patience. So this embroidery is totally like my just chill, and I'm going to just cut this in because it's a little fuzzy. Just chill out and not worry about when it has to get done and just watch a movie sort of project. All right, so I'm just checking out the design, the instructions here. It says use 3 strands of floss, and that's referring to splitting the embroidery floss from the 6 strands. So embroidery floss it's called like 6-strand embroidery floss or stranded embroidery floss. What that means is it's made up of 6 strands that can come apart really easily. And the reason you want to pull them apart is because you can like affect the thickness of your stitches, and you know what that means. I'm gonna get out my floss thickness guide here again just to show you guys. So this one's gonna be stitched with 3 strands, so that's this one, the number 3. So my stitches are gonna be that thick. If I used all 6 strands in it, they would be super duper thick. That might be a look you want, which is totally fine. If I stitch it with 1 strand, my stitches would be super skinny. Like here's a good just reference. The floss is 6 strands and the thickness guide is just 1 strand. So you can really get different effects with different amounts of floss. But I just like, with this one, it's gonna just stay consistently at that 3 strands. Because I like the look of that thickness. I don't want it so thick. And sometimes actually when you're doing a lot of strands, like 6 strands, it can be harder to pull through the fabric a little bit. Oh, what is the pearl floss? So Gretchen's asking what the pearl floss is. So this is a size, so P5, that's standing for size 5 pearl cotton floss, which is pretty hefty. Like that looks about the same as maybe about the same as the 5 strands of the 6-strand embroidery floss. And then I have a 12 weight thread, so that's just like a 12 weight sewing thread, which is kind of thicker. You can still use it on a sewing machine, but it's pretty thick. It's kind of like a jean thread almost. So this is 1 strand, so 12 weight, 1 strand. It's about maybe at the 2 level, and then a 12 weight 2 strand, and yeah, I'd say about at the 4 level. And then I have some I don't even know the weight of this, but some yarn just to plop that in there. But yeah, so we're going to be stitching with the 3 strands. You can stitch however you want it, but the instructions are saying 3, so I'm going to do 3 today. So how I like separating the strands is I just bop the top of these a little bit just to separate. You can see them all separated there. And I'm going to pull them out one at a time. So I just think, I always thought this was like weird, but now I think it's just so much faster, and your stitches lay flatter and stuff too when you do it this way, I think. So I'm going to just separate them one at a time. So I'm going to pull them out, and it's going to bunch up until the strand comes out, and then it'll release. I just run my finger through that, and we're going to do that 2 more times. This does not work. Oops. This does not work if you are trying to pull out more than 1 at once. Then it freaks out. So just 1 at a time. Zoop. And it's super fast. So this strand of 3 I'll wait on for later when we run out of this. Oh, Shiver says I legit have 8 projects started. Also, knitting work in progress. 2 loom pieces and a bunch of diamond art. Oh man. So yeah, that's how my projects get. I kind of have that situation, but in quilts right now. Like I have a pile of quilts that need to be quilted, but I think I need to get my machine fixed first, which is scaring me a little bit. I gotta find a new place to go fix it. But yeah, I'll get to that point where I just want to keep starting new projects. Like, last couple of weeks we've been tatting. Ooh, I have to show you this. But anyway, the tatting has kind of taken over a little bit. But I get in these stages where I just have to like finish all the projects. But I'm not done with this one, but I wanted to show you, I have one more card that I wanted to make, but I think I'm going to put this little tassel. This is from when we made that, our last embroidery of the month that we made into that tree topper. We were testing out these little tassels, and I think I'm going to stitch this to here and then put this at the bottom. So it'll go with the other ones that we've been making over the past few days. Though the other one, there was a whole nother one, but that one I sent off already. So these ones I have to just write on the inside. But the deal with these are, again, that, untie for an ornament there. I just love these so much. So I'm going to make one more. And I'm like, I have this white one. What can I do with it? And I thought I'd just add like this little tassel at the bottom. So I think this is going to be, maybe I should add it like right there, maybe. Is that cuter? I don't know. Anywho, I'm going to finish that up yet, but I had to share because that was my idea of the day. All right, let's thread this and get started. So sometimes when I thread, I'm going to snip this up. Or are there videos on tatting? Oh, Peggy, I do have a couple videos on tatting. I'm gonna do more. By me pointing like this, I'm saying like it's in my profile. Like swipe for my profile. I did put some tatting how-tos, just starting. Like I'm just learning, but I do think the videos that I've done so far, I think can tell it. And then I'm also, my lives are saved on YouTube, so on my YouTube, they're available in full length. I think I might have said YouTube for TikTok, but the TikTok has the short how-tos, and then just a start of them. I'm going to do some more, and then YouTube has the full length. Did you make the tassel? Yep, Gretchen, that was the tassel. That was one of our test tassels when we made the tree topper. All right, so I'm going to start with a knot, but I'm not going to use this knot on the back like how you'd expect. Like I'm not going to just start stitching. This is actually going to be a waist knot. It's like waist, like W-A-S-T-E. It's also called an away knot, this particular type of waist knot, and what it's going to do is just reserve some floss that we will weave in later. So I am going to, let's see, how should we get started? I think I'll start like right here. So I'm going to actually go into my piece about 3 to 4 inches away from my start point. So I'm going to go way over here and away from where I'm going to be stitching. And then I'm going to just start stitching. So this is going to be the back stitch. So I'm going to start here. We'll get back to this in a sec, but I would just want to start the back stitch here. The line is going to start here. So for a back stitch, I go a little bit forward, like a stitch length forward. I'm doing, maybe a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch or so. And then we're going to go backwards to the beginning of our line. So let me just come up where I'm going to start the stitch. But then you can see here, we got that long thread just chilling there. This is going to be reserved. It's like we're just reserving this for later, and we're going to actually weave in the end so we don't have a little knot on the back. And the reason I don't like knots on the back is because I don't want like my thread to be like catching on it. Like if this knot's on the back and my thread catches on it and I don't notice, and then I keep stitching, and then I just have kind of a mess, and just it's annoying. So so I try and stitch without knots there. But all right, let's just go backwards to the starting point of this line, and that's going to be our first stitch in the back stitch. Then we're going to come up a little further down the line and back to the starting point of that last stitch. We're going to go in that exact same hole. And that is the back stitch. We're going to just keep going around here. You're still learning. Peggy Montes says, I'm still learning the shuttle tatting, but I'm a beast with the needle tatting. So I just learned how to do the needle tatting by watching a couple videos. I have not tried it yet, though, but it seems logical. Like after knowing how to do, after like learning how to do the shuttle tatting now, and then seeing a video on how to do the needle tatting, I think it makes sense. I have not tried it quite yet, though. Oh, Shirley says I started with the wing. I was kind of debating, should I start with the wing too? Because I like kind of planning out my path, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to jump over to the wing, but I don't know. We'll get there. But yeah, I gotta try that needle tatting. I'm kind of like, you know, I'm very excited that we're working on this embroidery now, but like, I really am itching to do more of that tatting. Like, I really am. It's a new to me craft. I mean, I knew about it, but like, I've never learned how to do the magic of it all. It really is kind of magic, I feel like, the shuttle tatting. So I'm still a little obsessed with it. I haven't lost the, like sometimes I'll learn how to do something. It all starts with, like, how does that work? I need to know how it works. And usually once I figure it out, then it's an analysis of, like, okay, is that enough? Like, I know how to do it. Now I know the trick. Now I can move on. Or do I really actually enjoy it and want to, like, know all the things? And I'm kind of still at that stage, like, I want to keep going and I want to try more things and learn everything about it and do more complicated patterns and then design my own patterns and then do all the rest, right? So I'm at that stage with tatting still. So I'm excited to be embroidering, but like my brain is still wanting to tat right now. It's like, oh, we're not tatting this week. Oh man. But that's okay. Oh, Sylvia says it took me to learn, oh, not on a needle. Then not so easy to see on the needle. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay. I'm excited to give that a try. I mean, it makes sense, because like with the shuttle tatting, you still do end up with like that whole row, and just that concept of that, I mean, is super clear with the needle tatting, it seems. Oh, Gretchen's tempted to start with the pine needles. I was kind of thinking about that too, but I'm like, yeah, I gotta start with the little birdie. I always end up starting with the main guy, filling in the rest later. And it's the back stitch, and I do like a good back stitch. It's just sweet and beady, cute little outline. So I'm actually almost out of this floss already. So I'm wondering, man, would now be a good time to jump to that wing? I think it might be. I might jump to the wing, like right here, because this seems like, if you saw that stitch on the back, like through the fabric, you know how you can kind of see the stitches through there? I'm trying to avoid that by not like jumping around too much. So if I jump here, it's kind of a small little space to jump that might not be very noticeable. So I think I'm going to do that. And then I'll just use this thread up. Gosh, I wonder if I have enough to even do that. And then I'll start on the wing and then jump back on the outline maybe. I don't know. I was trying like kind of map it out, but it doesn't always work. So here, now I'm going to just jump over here to this wing. Ooh, dang, I'm really, oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm playing too much thread chicken right now. I can feel it already, but we'll make it work. Like, theoretically, I want to get it right to the end with no thread left, but that was a pretty big, stupid gamble, but we'll see. If I have one stitch left, then I'll just do it with the new thread. That's fine. Sweet little cardinal guy. I think I'll have just enough to get to the end, which will be great. I probably could have gotten like a couple more stitches out, actually, but I think we'll just end it. And then I'll start the next thread, like I'll start stitching here, and then we'll jump back and then do the rest of the head, I think. Hopefully we have enough thread for all that. All right, I'm tempted to jump up to the top, but I think we'll just let it be. But I'm tempted to jump up to the top. I think I'm just gonna jump up here. Try to squeak out a few more stitches. Ooh, maybe I'll even make the whole wing. That would be a bonus. Ooh, I don't have much left here. I might force it. Let's do two kind of bigger ones. I have hardly enough thread left. Let's go for it though. All right. So I am just about out of thread, so I'm going to weave in the end. I have just a tiny bit of thread left here. And instead of tying a knot, I like weaving in the ends. It's kind of actually like tying a long knot, because I am trying to get in grab as many of these little threads as possible. But again, the reason I like weaving in the ends, I had totally enough thread here. I like weaving in the ends because then I don't have like those knots on the back. And you have the knot ends that are the little bit of fluff. And if you catch that, then those will pull to the front, and that's just annoying. So if you weave it in 3 times, the third time is what locks it in, then you can actually snip it really close to the stitches. And so we have no knots, that's perfectly secure. You can wash it, it's going to be fine. And there's nothing to catch on the back. And that's exactly what we're going to actually do with our reserved floss right here now. So that was our away knot that we started with. I'm going to just snip that off. There we go. And toss that little knot. And now I can, that's released. And now I can weave in that end as well. So I'm going to just thread that. I know it's like, people get upset sometimes when I do this, because it is like, I'm wasting, a couple inches of thread at the beginning here, but it saves me from not having that knot on the back, and that can cause me more just annoyances as I stitch, so I'm okay with wasting that like 3 inches of thread right there. So I'm going to weave in the end. Oh, can I show the back stitch again? Okay, I totally will. I have way more back stitches to do. So the rest of this cardinal is, at least this outline is back stitched. So I'll show you that in a sec. Oh, you're going the opposite direction on the bird. That totally works too. That's what's kind of fun about embroidery is you can kind of pick, where you want to go and all that. So there is decisions to be made, for sure. A lot of times I like starting, I'm actually starting with the thing that's like most in front right now, the bird, and I'm just doing that because I like starting with like the main thing, just because it feels like you got a lot done right away then. But if I was doing like a whole scene or something, I like working on whatever is furthest away sometimes, because then the things that you stitch on top of that will look like they're sitting on top of those other stitches. For example, like if I would have stitched these stems first before stitching this bird, then like this bird's like bottom here would be kind of sitting more nicely on top of those stitches. And so I do like kind of starting from the further back. So I think Gretchen starting with the pine needles is not a bad idea at all. But at the same time, then it's like, I want to stitch the bird first. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to do too. So all right, so now I do not have to tie that knot on the end. I only did that away knot to start because I don't have any other stitches on here. But now I can just continue where I left off here, but I can weave in the end there to get started. So I'm going to go 3 times again. So I'm going towards where I want to start. And you can leave a little tail. We can trim that off. Then I'm going to go back for the second pass. And then, because with like the 2 passes, sometimes you can still pull, like, see my thread is moving. So I always go 3 passes. After that 3rd pass, that's not moving anymore. That's like a tied knot at that point. And then if you do have like some excess, you can just leave it. But again, I don't like accidentally pulling those to the front, so I just kind of snip it short. So that's how I start. So now we're locked in, we're ready to go. All right, so the back stitch again, that is what we're doing around this cardinal here. So I'm gonna get in close here. So I wanna start, so I'm going from here and I'm going this direction. So you always wanna know kind of what direction you're going in. So this is where I need to start the stitch, but for a back stitch, you actually start a little bit forward, like a stitch length forward. Again, I'm going about, a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. So you're going to go a little forward, and then you're going to go backwards to where you left off. So you're always going forward, coming up, going, a little bit forward, and then coming back into that same stitch. So here's what I mean by that. So I'm coming forward. I think this space here, I think we'll divide it into like 2 stitches. When I get close to an end here, I always kind of make a decision. Okay, is this a 3-stitch thing? Do I divide this space into 3, or do I divide it into 2? And I think we'll do 2 this time. I'm just trying to like compare it to my other stitches, the width of them and stuff, or the length. So I think we'll do 2. So I came up, a stitch length away from where my starting point is, which is right here, and now I'm going backwards, straight down through that starting point. Oh, you did it wrong. If you get this effect from the stitches yet, like if you're like going forward once and then backwards once, that kind of works too. But yeah, so this is the back stitch. So that was stitch 1, and then I'm going to come up, the stitch length away again. There we are. So a stitch length away, and then going backwards again to that starting stitch right in the same hole. And it gives you like a neat little beady look. Like if you look from the side, you can see like each stitch, like a little bump for each stitch. And I just think that's really kind of cute. To me, it like screams embroidery. There's other stitches you can do where it kind of, like a split stitch will kind of make all the stitches a little bit more melded together a little bit. But I just really love the back stitch for outlining. So you'll see it a lot for my patterns there. So I just switched directions there, but I still just went like a stitch length ahead coming up, and then a stitch length backwards. Oh, I'm the one and only. I get so frustrated if I try this. It's actually, I kind of think of it as like those adult coloring books where where you're just coloring, you're just staying on the lines, basically. So learning a stitch or 2, even just knowing 1 stitch, you're going to be good to go. If all you learned was like the back stitch, you could do, zillions of pieces with embroidery, and they'd be really pretty. But yep, I'm just following the line. So yeah, back stitch, I'm always coming up like a stitch ahead and then going backwards to going in the same spot where I left off. Yep, and then, what's nice about embroidery is there's options. So like, I could fill this whole entire cardinal, this bird in with stitches if I really wanted to. Like I could shade it different colors and blend all the colors together. I mean, that's what a lot of, really good embroiderers do. Like they're like basically painting with thread, but you can just outline it too, like what we're doing here, and that's perfectly fine, and it's just as cute and sweet and totally legit. So like you can have just one design and be able to like do lots of different things with it, and it's gonna be yours and sweet and cute, no matter what. The nice thing about the back stitch is you can really get corners nicely. Some stitches don't allow like going around corners quite so well, but with a back stitch you can get the nice pointy corners, which is great for his little I don't know, crest, is that what they're called? Little feathery feathers up there. All right, I'm hoping I have enough floss to get all the way around the head here. And then I think we'll stitch his little triangle face thing. We'll do that with... Oh, you started over, Robin. That's totally okay. Feel free to share, too. I'd love to see it. I do have a Facebook group to share what you're working on and stuff. If you need help with it or anything like that. I'm always open to being tagged in a TikTok, too. I'd love to see it. Oh, Gina says the Cardinals were flocking to my bird feeder this evening. Love them. Yeah, it's my favorite. We went for a walk today, and it's just full snow everywhere. Like, we got, 9 inches of snow over on Friday, and it's still all there. And our neighbors have all these, little tiny trees. They changed their whole entire lawn. They got rid of their front yard, basically, and then planted a bunch of tiny bushes and tiny trees. So it's goofy, but it's pretty because it's all year round. There's something, well, not in the winter, but stuff goes right away in spring, with the magnolia trees, and then it just goes throughout the year. It's really pretty, but all the branches are all bare now, and they're right in the middle of the yard, the most center one. There was a cardinal sitting in there, and I'm like, oh, look how pretty the cardinal. And John was he thought it was fake because it was just perfectly placed in this tree, but then it moved and flew away. So, but they're my favorite. I love them. Oh yes, so the tatting shuttles are sold out right now. I know, Marsha. They sold out way faster than I thought. So you guys have been liking the tatting, which is awesome. I'm having so much fun with it. They're ordered, so they should be in, gosh, I want to say right at the beginning of January. So they won't be in for the holidays, but we're going to get them up immediately when they come. I'll have to check on it again, check the tracking on it again. All right, so we are done. So this little part here is brown. The tan here, so I'll just show you. There we go. So that part is actually tan. Oh, I don't know if you can really see on there very well, but there we go. Kind of blends in a little bit. So I am actually done with the red part of this outline. So I'm gonna flip it. I do have a little bit of thread left. We'll save that in case I need it later. But we're gonna just weave in this end again. So I'm going back and forth the 3 times to lock it in place. There we go. Snip that close to the threads. Actually, we don't have too much there, but I'll save it anyway, just because we have these little French knots to do later, and if I run out and only run out of thread and have just one more to do, then that might just be enough floss for that. So there we go. That's the back so far with no knots. Again, there's nothing to catch my thread on, which I love. And the front so far looking cute. All right. I would like to do his little brown face here. I think, so I'm just looking at the design again. We have, that's going to be the back stitch there. Then we have 2 little dots that are the same color, so I might take care of those right away. Those are 2 little French knots. So there's actually a lot of French knots scattered through this whole thing. So we're going to actually focus on that quite a bit later, and I might go over, I always, when we do French knots, I always like going over, what are the 3 things that you might be doing wrong if you're having trouble with French knots. I always like going over that, but I think today we might just do them quick. And then when we do some of these other French knots later, we'll go over the 3 things you might be doing wrong with your French knot. But I will go over just how to do it. I just won't go over all the 3 things you might be doing wrong today. Unless we get far enough for that. I don't know, we'll see. I'm still trying to get this little cardinal guy done today. All right, so I'm getting another 18 inches or so. I really probably don't, I was gonna say I really probably don't need that much, but there is a lot more brown in the rest of this, so I will actually use it. All right, let's grab our 3 strands out of here again. Zoop. Need a sound effect when you do it. So again, I'm just isolating one strand and then pulling it all the way out. I'll do this one slower. So isolate that one strand. You can bop the top a little bit to separate them, and holding it between my fingers, and it just gathers, and it looks like a crazy knot's gonna happen, but when you pull the thread out, it just releases. Then you can run your hand through it, and it's totally good to go again. So that's 3 strands. I'm going to set that aside for later, and these 3 strands we'll put back together. There we go. So that's how I like separating my strands. I used to take like the 3 strands and just pull them apart, you know, like how you're typically used to seeing, like pull the 3 strands from the 6, and you know, so you're pulling it apart like that. But I feel like that tangles so much more often than when I do it this way. So at first I'm like, this is weird doing it this way. Like it seems like it's taking more time, but I think it's actually saving me a ton of time. All right, I could show you guys that too. So here's the pinch method. Oh, why do I take them out like that? I just think it tangles less, for one. People have said that your stitches, since you have to put the thread back together, your stitches actually lie flatter, like it's not so twisted. We did do a test on that, and I think that was true. It did come out like that. It just, the stitches lay a little bit flatter. And if you're going to do like satin stitches where you really want flat stitches, shiny flat stitches, then that's good to pull them out like that. I just think it reduces the mess of it twisting up on itself again when you're trying separating it. All right, I'm going to do the pinch method of threading the needle, and what I've done is, well, you can snip the end just so all the threads are nice and laying together, and I'm just kind of squishing them together between my fingers, like you're just pinching and unpinching. And as I unpinch, the moment I can see that tiny little bit of thread there, I'm going to put my eye of the needle over it and just push down, and it's going to just push the thread right through. So that's, to me, that's my go-to method. You can also use like a needle threader. We'll use that. I think I have one up here still. We'll use that next time. All right, I don't need to tie the knot again. I can just, Rockin' Robin does the pinch method. I just think it works so well. All right, I'm just debating how to do the eyes. I'm gonna come up from this side. I could have woven the ends up here too, but I like my first weaving in the ends. I always go towards where I want to start, so I want to start here, so I'm going towards that. Oh, you do the fold and pinch. I totally know what you're talking about. I don't do that all the time just because you're actually doubling up the thread then. So sometimes if you have a needle with a smaller eye, that's harder to do. But it's effective. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like you can fold it over your needle and get it nice and sharp and then do it. All right. So wove that in 3 times. You can trim the end if you want. I just kind of pulled it just right there. And this is more back stitch, but I think I might jump over. This is kind of what I was considering in my head. Like I think I might jump over and get that French knot for that eye while I'm over here. So I'm going to do this back stitch, and then I'm going to jump over to his eye here. So here I'm going to run you through how to how I do French knots here. So I actually don't come up in the middle of the dot. I come over on one side. So I'm coming in on the lower right-hand side of that dot, and when I go back in, I'm not going to go in that same spot. I'm going to go in the upper left. So I'm actually crossing over the dot. I don't actually go in the same hole. So when I come back, I'm going to go in like right here. Because if I go through the same hole, I might pull the knot to the back. All right, I always like setting it down on a flat surface. I think that's helpful, or your lap. Just something so you have both hands free. If you're using a like stand, that's perfect. Like if you have an embroidery stand, that's amazing. Then both your hands are free. But I just put it on my lap or on the table here. So I'm going to hold it in the thread in my left hand here, and I'm going to actually point my needle towards my fingers. So it's away from the fabric. I'm not pointing the needle towards the fabric at this point. I'm going to point away, and we're just going to wrap the needle around, wrap the thread around the needle twice, and then I'm going to hold those there with my finger, and at that point I can release the thread. I like just swooping it down out of the way. I'm still holding those loops. Now I can go on the opposite side of that dot, like how I was saying earlier. So now this is the first time I've turned my needle towards the fabric, and we're going to go on the opposite side of that dot. And I'm only going to go in halfway with my needle. And I'm going to set it down again, and then I can lift up so I can release those loops, and I'm just going to pull the thread so it's tight against my fabric and tight against the needle there. And then, oops, popped up a little bit. I always like holding it there with my thumb. Not everyone does this, but I like holding those loops with my thumb, and then I start pulling the needle all the way through. But holding those loops down keeps them from like swirling away from me and then making like a big kind of ugly French knot. And there we go. That is our little baby French knot there, looking cute for the eyes. And then I'm just gonna jump back to it and continue my back stitches here. And then I think when I get around at this side, I'll jump in and do this French knot as well. Then his little eyeballs will be done. So typically I like saving the French knots to the end, because I don't really like French knots in the front too early for the same reason I don't like knots in the back. I don't like when my thread catches on them accidentally. Like if I accidentally catch on the eyeball like that and start pulling at the eye. I don't like that, but the eyes are the same color as this brown thread, and I'm right here. I might as well just get it done. I'm just gonna have to pay attention to not get it. Oh, you always have the trouble with the French knots. I will definitely, I'll definitely go over the 3 things you might be doing wrong with a French knot, and I bet you might be doing one or more of those three things. So I'm hoping by knowing that it'll help with your French knots. So we'll definitely go over that, but I think we'll get some more of this stuff done first, because like I said, I do like leaving the French knots till a little later. So we'll do some of these other stitches first, but towards the end of the week we'll definitely do the 3 things you might be doing wrong with the French knots, the 3 things that might be giving you some trouble, and what to do instead. We'll be doing that for sure. Tracy's asking is this the last week of the live? So let's talk about that for a little. So I am, first of all, on the note of schedule, our last ship date was the 10th. That's just so you guys can pretty confidently get your packages on time, but I will be actually shipping till probably next Tuesday. So here's that knot again. Holding with my thread, or holding with my hand and pointing the needle towards my hand, wrapping around twice, holding those loops, then pointing back towards the eye, and I'm going on the opposite side of that dot, halfway, pull those threads tight, and then I put my thumb on there again, and guide the thread through for my French knot, and there we go. Okay. I'm just jumping around tonight, but so I will still be shipping through the beginning of next week, but it's, that 10th was just to make sure things get there, because it's tricky for the post office and all that this time of year. And then with the lives, So I will be live all week this week. And then next week, I will be doing, I think through Wednesday. So I'll still be going Monday through Wednesday next week. And it'll probably just be like a free week of a couple days. We won't work on any particular project. Or maybe I think we'll probably be done with this, but maybe we'll make this into something. I don't know. So maybe we'll tat some more. Actually, I can probably guarantee that that's probably what we'll be doing, because I'm going to be itching to do more tatting. So maybe we'll do 3 days of tatting. I don't know. Maybe we'll try a more difficult pattern or something. Give it a go. But so this week, and then Monday through Wednesday next week is when we'll be live. And then I won't be back until the Monday, which I believe is the 3rd. So the 3rd is when I'll be back. I might pop in here and there, but I am going to take off that whole week, the whole week after. So we'll be traveling around and just cleaning our house, basically. So yeah, so then it'll be after the new year there. How is needlepoint? Oh, how different is needlepoint than embroidery? So I haven't actually needlepointed before, but that's I think where you basically have the whole like a whole design colored, let's say on let's just call it like a pillow or something, like a piece of fabric. The whole entire design is basically almost painted on the fabric. I think this is needlepoint. Tell me if I'm wrong. And then you actually stitch. It's kind of like cross stitch, where you're just filling in an area with X's, but in a needlepoint you're actually using a fatter like yarn, and you're only doing like half of the X, so you're just doing like little diagonals, I believe, and you're kind of filling in those colors with this yarn. So it's similar in the sense that it's like needle and thread sort of craft. It's you're dealing with fabric and thread and needles and pretty pictures and all that. But that's about it. Whereas embroidery, you have like your outlines that you're either filling in or you're outlining, and there's tons of different stitches, tons of different options. I think with needlework, I'm sure there's more than one stitch, but it's, I think, a little more strict, I would say. All right, so I do actually have a lot of thread left. I might actually jump down and start some of this branch stitching, just because I have all this floss still, and I don't want to end it now. So I think let's just do that. So I'm going to just kind of drag. I'm going to just like pop up here. So I'm going to actually go in the backs of some stitches just to get down where I want to start, just so I don't have like a huge jump, a huge thing of loose thread here. So I just went in the backs of these stitches just to travel down. And I don't know, I'm going to just start here, close to where it's coming out of my, from the bottom of this cardinal. And I'm going to just stitch. Gosh, I could go either direction here, couldn't I? I'm going to just stitch up this way. Oh no, I think I might want to do the evergreens first there though. So I'm going to go down here. I don't usually do this. I'm just kind of trying to stick with this cardinal, but I do have a little thread left. So I'm going to go down here. I'm confusing myself a little bit, but I'm going to go down in this direction instead. I'm going to make this stem just go right under him, so it looks like he's sitting on it. And I'm going to just get some of those branches that go down here, since I have some of this thread yet. I'm not going to be able to even get close to finishing it, but I'll get to use up some of this floss without having to start again. Oops. I did what I always do when I get about this much thread left. I always pull it out. So let's thread that again. There we go. my finger just got caught. Got caught in there. Oh, yeah, so if you've needle pointed before, I don't think you'll have any problem whatsoever picking up embroidery. Especially, like, I mean, you really just learn a stitch or two and you're good to go. And even this back stitch, just following the lines, it might actually even be a little bit easier than needlepoint on the eyes, I would think. Just because you don't really have to decipher, you know, what color is that stitch supposed to be in this painting, basically. It's a little more clear with embroidery. You just follow the lines. Yeah, I'm not sure you'd have any problem going from one or the other. That's what's so nice about all these needle crafts. If you know one, like if you can cross stitch, you can probably pick up needlepoint pretty easily, and vice versa. And same with embroidery. I'm thinking they all kind of travel to each other's world pretty easily. There are needlepoint though is growing again, so there you might actually be able to find now a lot of really fun kind of fresh needlepoint patterns too if you want to stick with needlepoint. I would maybe check out Etsy and type in like modern needlepoint or something. Oh, you too. Have a great Christmas. Oh, Gretchen says her stockings are all needle pointed. Oh my gosh, I told you guys that my doctor that I went to, we went to a new doctor. This is a few months ago, and I know I've talked about it already, but like, she's like, oh, so like, you know, I just met this person. I'm getting a freaking physical, right? So, you know, that's always fun. But so we're talking while I'm getting this physical, and she's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I have an embroidery business. We do hand embroidery kits. And she's like, oh my God, I cross stitch, and I don't have anyone to talk about this to. I have to show you pictures of my stockings that I just finished. So we got done with the physical, and I'm like waiting to be told to like go to the next thing or whatever. And she comes back in with her phone, the doctor, and she is like going through all of her phone pictures, like, and she's showing me these very, very intense and intricate cross stitches that she did. Like the entire stocking is cross stitched. And she was just really excited that she got to talk to someone about it. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, love it. So yeah, I think it travels well, these needlecraft things. And look, I'm totally winning at thread chicken. This is my last stitch right here, and I totally got it, which is perfect because now when I come up this way, I can just start here and finish this up this way. So I'm pretty happy so far. I'm winning at thread chicken today. Take that. All right. So I've barely enough to weave in the ends, though. That's always a little tricky. So if you actually don't have that much to weave, like if you get to like this point here, like so I'm at that point now. Like I can't turn this around and weave in anymore because I don't have enough thread, but I didn't do like the 3 back and forth 3 times. I can actually go with the eye of my needle instead and finish it up with the eye of my needle, like just turning it around and then go through, and that usually does the trick. There we go. Oh, Frogners, I'm penguin and fish. The link in the TikTok on my bio page will go right to there. Ah, cute. All right, so we're done with that piece of floss. So I really could continue with the tan. Let's see, how much time do we have left here? I kind of want to do the green evergreens though first, because so here's what I'm talking about, like stitching the thing that's further back. Do y'all have penguins? I may have penguins soon. I am working on some penguin embroideries, but right now I do not have any penguin embroideries, if you can believe that. I do have lots of other animals, and I have a whole alphabet of animals as patterns, but I don't have a penguin yet. So that may be coming up soon here. Working on some other animal ones. Oh, do I have like real penguins? No, I do not have real penguins. All right, so let's see. I think since we just have a few minutes left, I think maybe I'll just go ahead and why don't I just finish the bird here? I'll just do the little satin stitches on his nose, and I'll come back and do that. Oh, but what I was gonna say is that the reason I kind of want to wait on doing the stems all the way up here is because I like doing the things that are stitched that like further in the background first. And I think I want to do the green evergreen bits first, because then these stitches can like lay on top of it versus the other way around. So like here you go, like on my example piece, you can see all these you know, the green stitches for the evergreens, and then the brown goes on top of that. And what that does is it helps cover up these little ends, but this would be really difficult if I stitched these stems first and then stitched the green. I would have to like avoid those stitches so I don't like stab into them and stuff, and that can be just, you know, extra work. So I want to do the green first and then come back with the brown on top. So that's why I'm like, oh, I don't want to start on that brown just yet. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow, the green. All right, but let's do this. We got a little bit of time here. Let's just do this satin stitch really quickly. So I'm gonna get my 18 inches or so. So in like super duper professional embroiderer land, you know, the people that like do the embroideries that look like they're all painted and like totally filled in with color and all that, they will just use, or like these portraits, like these dog portraits and stuff that are really lifelike, they will just use one strand of floss for a satin stitch. And a satin stitch just kind of fills in a shape. It's called a satin stitch because it looks all shiny and satiny because all the stitches are going in the same direction. Typically people use one strand of floss for that. I'm just going to stick to the 3. It's going to fill in the space a lot quicker. It won't be quite as shiny. We've done a test on that before. I mean, yeah, the one strand looks great and stuff, but like stitching with one strand, you're filling a shape, that's going to take a long time. So we're just doing it with 3 still. I'm just trying to match these up. And grab my needle here again. So I'm kind of debating if I should do an away knot for this. So I've been starting my floss by weaving into the ends of stitches that are already there. But here, his nose, his beak here is just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't really want to jump over there because I don't want you to be able to see that thread. So I think I'm going to start with another away knot, although it really doesn't matter because we're going to be jumping around here. But it is the face, and a lot of times with a face, I don't want like a big thread that you can see on the back. So we're going to do another away knot. So we're going to start way over here. That's maybe a little far away, like 3 inches away. Okay, so we're going to weave that in later. So I'm going to fill in this space now with stitches. I think I'm going to go vertically. You can go in any direction, like horizontal would be fine too, but I think vertical will look nice. And I actually like starting in the middle, especially if there's like a point here like that I can just go straight up. That's a good guidepost for me. So I'm going just on the outside of that line so I can cover up that line. And I'm going to go straight up to that top line. And that's going to be my first stitch for the satin stitch. And now what I'm going to do is just fill in from here to this little point, and then I'm going to come back and do there to the little point. So I always want to start on the same side as the beginning of the last stitch. So I'm always going to come back down to the bottom since I started at the bottom. I'm always going to go up to the top, and we're going like a thread length away, like of the fabric. Like we're following the edge, but we're like literally right next to those where that last stitch started. And we're just going to go straight up, and we're just filling in this little bitty space here. Alright, we're almost to the top on this side. I might put one more stitch in there. Yeah, I can still see the point there. We'll do one little baby stitch for that point of that beak. There we go. So that's that side. Let's get the other side. So I'm jumping way back down, right next to that first stitch that we started, and going up to the top again. And then we're going up the side. He's gonna have this cute little beak. So then we'll weave in this end, and then we'll snip our little away knot and weave that in as well. There. I don't think we need any more. I think that's done, just like so. So I'm going to just go that weaving in 3 times again. I'm just still going to grab as many threads as I can along the way. There we go. This thread, I mean, we got tons left. We'll definitely use that later. Save that. And then I always kind of like snipping this off in the front. So snipping off the away knot. Don't need that anymore. Oh my gosh, we're going to be done with this little cardinal. That makes me happy. Tomorrow we'll get going on those evergreens, I think. Right, and I'm just weaving in this end as well. There, now we didn't jump like across his face to get to the beak. All right. Snip that off. And there's what our back is looking like so far. Nice and clean, I think. And then the little beaky. Oh, Rockin' Robin, don't feel bad if you're not. When I do work on these, I do go pretty quick, zipping through just so I can get done. I usually try and get these done within the week. So if you're not going this fast, that's fine. Again, this will all be on YouTube. The lives will be on YouTube, saved there at Penguin and Fish on YouTube. And I'm going to put together some TikToks with like what we get done each day too, I think. So stay tuned for one of those tomorrow on what we got done today here. So looking very sweet here. Little sparkly stars up there. I'm excited for that. And again, here's the finished one. This is what I think we'll work on tomorrow. So we could get all this evergreen done, and then maybe even start on these single chain stitches. So for these pine cones, we have single chain stitches, and at the tips of our evergreens are little chain stitches as well. But we have the cardinal done, and that always makes me feel good to get like the main thing. Oh yes, so the pattern comes pre-printed on the fabric, so you don't have to do any transferring at all for this kit. So again, this is our embroidery of the month. It is our embroidery kit. So here's the front cover, just to show you guys the kit again. So it comes boxed, and the cover comes out, and on the back of the cover is the pattern with like what colors go where, what stitches go where, and how to do the stitches. But we will go through all of these. You can get them on my website at Penguin and Fish. So the link will take you right there, and there's a discount over there as well. So yeah, so my link on my profile page Otherwise, just penguinandfish.com. It's our embroidery of the month, so that should be right there at the top on the website. So yeah, so we'll do those guys tomorrow. And maybe these, that seems about what we might be able to get done in a day. Let's see, that would be Tuesday. This might take Wednesday, Thursday, these parts down here. Yeah, we'll get this done this week for sure. So awesome, you guys. Oops, sorry about that. There. Thanks again for getting started on this with me. Here we go. Little baby cardinal. Looking so cute. All right. So we will pick this up again tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Again, you can get this kit at penguinandfish.com. We also have it available as a PDF download, and just if you have all the supplies already, if you have like your floss and your hoop and all that, we do have the fabric only option while it's here this month. So that's the deal. A week of embroidery. That'll be fun. And then, yeah, I think next week, the 3 days that I'm going to be here next week, it might be back to tatting. I'm not done with that yet, I don't think. Still feeling it. So our like 3 little free days, we might end up doing that. So thanks again, you guys. Happy to see you again after the weekend. And I will see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central. Good night.